Yeah. Tiff and The Punisher in the house. CPS. Your time is up. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Waking up to the knock at the door. System coming for war, they twist the truth, fabricate more, leaving families torn. Tiff spitting fire, constitutional warrior, Punisher loading up, aiming straight at the corrupt core. Child protective, nah, more like child destructive. Stealing kids for the quota, bureaucratic injustice. Paperwork, lies, court dates, rigged from the start. But we expose the corruption, tear the veil apart. No more silence, no more fear. Voices rising, the end is near. CPS us, we coming for you. Tiff and The Punisher, breaking through. Gunning for the system, parental rights renewed. Fight the corruption, the revolution's due. CPS us, hear the war cry. Reclaim your family, never say die. Constitutional hammer smashing every lie. Tiff and The Punisher, watch the system fry. Family court circus, judges playing God with lives. Child support traps, keeping good parents deprived. Police roll up, badges hiding the agenda. But we drop knowledge bombs, no surrender. F in your corner, strategies locked and loaded. Reunification blueprints, the truth fully decoded. From the front lines, wicked, wise, and relentless. Exposing every fraud, make the guilty confess. No more silence, no more chains. Break the cycle, ignite the flames. CPS us, we coming for you. Tiff and The Punisher, breaking through. Gunning for the system, parental rights renewed. Fight the corruption, the revolution's due. CPS us, hear the war cry. Reclaim your family, never say die. Constitutional hammer smashing every lie. Tiff and The Punisher, watch the system fry. This is for the parents, fighting every day. This is for the warriors who refuse to break. Abolish the machine, tear it down. Wicked warriors rise, own the crown. Yeah, yeah, CPS us, louder now. Tiff and The Punisher, take a bow. Gunning for the system, we ain't backing down. Parental rights forever, wear the crown. CPS us, this is the sound of justice rising from the underground. Tiff and The Punisher, echo through the town. The fight continues, never back down. Tiff and The Punisher podcast, armed with truth. CPS, you're done.
They are taking our kids every day. A child a minute, no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up, everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallets. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. Yeah, you can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voices loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken. Goddamn it, she's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher screaming out loud about the CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up by Tiff Tack. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with hot speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out, CPS, here we come, picking you off one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the case workers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play on Nintendo. Corruption in court, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior. We cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen away too often.
We've talked to her before, haven't we?
Mhm. We're going up the wrong all the
That's it. I love it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Happy Saturday. I love those. I love those mashups. They're so great. What's up, Tiff? Look at you. Got your little protege with you today.
I sure did. I love this little girl right here. I love her to death, and my kids love her. So it's good.
She's taking down town hall meetings. She's taking city officials out. She's taking
Please.
she's just taking everybody out. So when everybody's sitting there saying that they go into these town hall meetings or doing stuff, they're wrong, because Claire, how many people have lost their jobs or have quit or resigned or whatever because of you, in your case, in doing what you've done?
At least I'd say probably 10 to 15.
So there's 10 to 15 corrupt workers that are no longer in service right now because of what she's done, going to these town hall meetings. And that's just badass. And everybody that's just.
Our Commonwealth attorney even took her personal page down on Facebook during her campaign because I threatened to post the recorded calls where she was telling me that I wasn't in my right state of mind because I was crying because they weren't doing anything with my case. And she was just like, well, I was like, you're a mother. So as a mother, how would you feel? And she's like, my job isn't to be a mother. My job is to be the attorney, and personal stuff does not get in the way. And it made me cry because I'm like, if your daughter was in my son's position, why would you allow this to happen to other people?
And now here you are, taking them out one by one.
And she called her out for it too. Yeah, at a town hall meeting. She called her ass out. She calls out everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if I haven't recorded or I have proof of it. Yeah, I'm saying whatever.
So
my respect.
Who else calls out stuff? That there's a Substack author out there that authors about family court, and he's just as vicious behind the pen. I think, you know, like I don't know if any of you guys have seen his stuff. Of course you have, but I got to say his last name right. I got to be right about this time again. But Michael Volpe, I think I said it right. He's a machine, and he writes about these corruptions and all of these things, and he writes about what's going on in CPS news, not only family court but CPS stuff. And this guy's been doing this for a long time. And what's cool about him is he comes after certain advocates that are posing, you know, that are out here and they're lying to people and saying there's something that they're not. But let's bring our man out here right now, and let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Let's hear what's going on around the system. Mr. Michael, how are we, buddy?
Thanks for having me. How's it going?
Yes. Did I get it right today? Did I say it right? Yes, I knew it. I was so nervous for the past 20 minutes.
Yes, it's spelled.
Awesome, perfect. So, Michael, what's going on in the family court world, the CPS world? What's the hottest item, the hottest ticket that people are talking about?
Well, I think right now is some of the reform laws that they're trying to pass. There's all sorts of try to pass. Mississippi, the governor just signed a presumed 50-50 custody bill. I disagree with that. Like presumed 50-50 is like it's moving in a few states. I'm totally against that. It's a but I think it doesn't fix anything. But that's the only thing. Arizona and Idaho, you should call them task forces. The state like special things, 6 or 7, and then they both try to pass a slew of legislation, and in the legislature, Arizona is a state. Difficult is very red, and so they in Idaho they had hearing things they found was that their custodial interference laws weren't being enforced. They're basically saying, well, we don't have any guidance, we can't enforce them. So as a result of those here there was HB 668. So the law, custodial interference, like when there's a court order and you keep the kids without a good reason, that's the court order. In Idaho, they actually give you 2-hour grace period. So if you're supposed to on Tuesday at 6 p.m., you actually have, according to their law, Tuesday at 6 p.m. So that way, you know, like if you're 15 minutes late, that's not custodial interference. Mm-hmm. But, there should be no reason. But what the cops would say is, we'll go out there, but we won't do anything. So, and they had I'm not going to, Basta is his last name, Terry. He's the police chief at Meridian, which is a suburb of a relatively big town itself. So he testified at the first one, and he was the first person to say it. Well, outside, and if you talk and other people, you'll know there's not much we can do. We can go out there, but unless it's blatant, I don't know what blatant means. So 668, what it did, and there's a couple of words that are very to the law, which shall, may, and shall not. So any law with may, the option to do something. If the law says shall, you have to do something. If the law says shall not, then you can't do something. So in this case, the law says when a custodial interference complaint is called in, the local law enforcement should, and then it gives like 4 or 5 things. So the first thing is they shall go a welfare check. They shall investigate. They shall write a police report. And I think there's a couple of other things. So in response to the cops and others saying that the cops' hands are tied, they're telling the cops, you have to do this. You have to do a welfare check. you have to do an investigation, you have to write a police report, and then it has like a list of penalties that starts with a fine all the way up to jail time if you're a persistent offender. So it's introduced by Rep. who's a state representative, a Republican. It passes 68-1. Then it moves, it goes to the Judiciary Committee, and that's the way like federal laws are passed. They start out in a committee, they pass out of the committee, they go to full cameral of the legislature. Then it has the same process. If it passes through both of those, it goes to the governor, who either signs or vetoes. So 68-1, you're thinking the process in the Senate is basically a stamp. So it gets to the Judiciary Committee, which is, and they just start to cut it up, and their whole argument is, well, we don't think are the appropriate body to investigate this, and they keep saying it's a civil matter. A custody agreement is a civil matter. Violating the custody agreement, custodial interference, is criminal. In fact, they already have criminal law in Idaho. Every state I've checked, I'm assuming all 50 states, it's a criminal offense. And what the cops were saying is, we don't know what to do. And now they're telling you what to do. So now their argument is, we don't want the cops to do it. They're like, well, let the judges do it. Basically, if somebody is interfering with custody, you go back to the judge, contempt order. But keep in mind, it's a criminal offense. That's not it. That's not how it's supposed to work. The other two is protective orders. They're a civil matter, but in Idaho, if you violate the protective order, that's a criminal matter. They empower people who violate protective orders. So how come with a protective order nobody's saying, but with a custody order suddenly order cops are fine to investigate with this or not? At that hearing, voted down 5-3 out of 8 members of state judiciary committee, which means it doesn't get a chance for the governor to sign it, and it gets killed in committee. They had another bill that I didn't like, which was going to be a 50-50, and in order to rebut that, you have to show clear and convincing evidence of abuse or neglect. And in criminal matters, it's doubt. In civil matters, it's either the preponderance of the evidence, which is more evidence in one. I don't know how obviously it's subjective to say more evidence than not, but clear and convincing is basically in between those. But it's a higher standard. And then that died as well. I didn't like the bill that died. Other bills, but they all, in Arizona, they had a jury bill, so we would have juries for these state trials, not all, a lot of them. They had some other stuff. They had 13 bills get through the state Senate, move to the state House. So the guy who sponsored all of them is State Senator Mark Fincham. He's a Republican, and he's kind of a rash guy. He's a Donald Trump. So he has a lot of people who like him. He also has a lot of him. And one of the people who doesn't like him is Quang Nguyen, who is a Republican state representative, who's the head of the House Judiciary Committee. So all of these bills wind up in that guy's committee, and he killed them. He claimed to my broadcast partner, Richard Luthman, that they were bad bills, but clearly personal, and he wanted to kill Fincham's bills. But at the time, Fincham, that Nguyen doesn't like him, why did he sponsor you? If you can do that, you got to be solid and have somebody who he doesn't dislike. So all of the bills got killed. Hopefully, some of them will come back. So there was some momentum for him, but this is the political process, and either in committee or somewhere else, and hopefully they'll be able to do so. A lot more state legislators all over the country. Richmond and I Gil is a Republican state representative from South Carolina, a slate of bills to reform government ad litem. We interviewed Tom. He's done several things. He's I think a state senator in South Dakota. He's trying to do 50-50, but he's also trying to reform child support. There's in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Washington. I don't know what happened to the bill, but they were basically have like a parent's bill of rights, and that was a bill in Washington. I don't know what happened to it. And then a Democrat in California, she's done a lot of different work. She sponsored Peaky's Law, which was the first bill, several things, but the landmark thing, in my opinion, was the reunification camps, which are Mandela-esque. You have these strangers either come to the child's home or pick them up, throw them into a van, drive them for hours, sometimes up to 4 room with strangers for approximately 4 days. Basically propaganda that the parent that you're afraid of, that you don't want to spend time with, good parent, the only you don't want to spend time with parent that you don't want to be with is because of the parent attached to, and they try to break this bond, and then for a minimum of 90 days, it's almost never minimum, the children with that parent who's usually abusing them. So that's the reunification camps. Peaky's Law was the first one to outlaw these things. I think it's up to 6 or 7 states. And I've said, I think in the next 4 years, all 50 states will ban these things. They're unlicensed. The guy who runs most of them, Randy Rand, he doesn't even have a license. He's not even supposed to be running them. Victoria, she goes by out of Ghana, and she was forced at 16 to go through one of these camps. And it was actually Rand who was running it. And 6 months after I interviewed her, SB 3092 out of Arizona, this was in 2024, banned reunification camps. Ohm's Law banned it in Utah. And as I said, I think it's up to 6 or 7 that have been camps. So we're seeing some movement. As far as CPS, the biggest thing I see as far as movement is body cams. Body cams are like mandatory body cams. So like when a cop has an interaction, when the case is actually videotape. Then another kind of popular one is like a Miranda type warning before the caseworker can talk to you. And I actually had this, they gave it to me by paper in Illinois. I don't know if it was mandated, but they read you your rights. And, on the right with CPS than with criminal. But those two are pretty popular as far as that are presented to the legislature. And so that's what's happening. I think there is a pretty growing movement to try to reform.
So that's a lot. That's a whole hell of a lot that's going on. So we can honestly say that there are things that are taking place, but I mean, it just sometimes when you're in this and you're in this fight and you're a parent, actually, it just doesn't seem like it's coming fast enough. Like it's always like it's going to be too late when it comes to you.
Definitely not going to be fit if you're going through it now. But I think it was there. I just read a bill out of Louisiana. I don't remember who sponsored it, so I don't know if it's Democrat or Republican, to mandate audio recordings in custody hearings. So that's a movement towards transparency. I think a lot of them already are, whether they're mandated or not. So that's a movement towards transparency in Idaho. Where I don't know if they a bill forward to mandate them in Idaho. Unless you're one of the parties, you can't get any of this stuff. It's all basically sealed. Which claim is of the children, but it's bogus. The public has a right to know how these judges conduct court. They are public officials. the child's privacy rights really are mine, public's right to know who either they're elected or they're appointed by someone who's elected or conducting business. These courts, they're not private. So everyone has a right to know it. And if the judges know they are being recording is available to anyone, they're going to behave differently. So that's a they had coming out of Louisiana. I think that's just, I don't know if it'll pass or not. I've seen on CPS as well, as I said. So there are state legislators all over the country championing this stuff. It's hard to get like movement as far as to the legislature if you become one, and then you're always going to run into politics. So I don't know why they killed the HB 668 in Idaho. I know it's completely ridiculous. Cops shouldn't investigate, and that's what custodial interference is. But it's Tim, I think he is his last, another Republican, the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He was spearheading and killing it. He wasn't the only one. Obviously, got to get more than votes, but so it's a long process. It's not; these things aren't going to be reformed. You have a child or you're in a custody case, but reform before people who don't realize they need it will maybe it because of the reform that'll happen.
I mean, we're seeing more than you would typically have seen in the past years, wouldn't you say? Like I mean, Tiff, you've been doing this for 30 years.
Growing. Yeah, I see a news story or something else about being proposed or passing through there about once a week. So all over the country, the most popular ones are the ones that I think are wrong-headed. These presumed 50-50 custody bills, but they've gained some momentum. Though some people are claiming they're going to take it. It fixes nothing. It's a one-size-fits-all model. We're just anybody who disagrees, we'll just split it 50-50, and you guys can figure it out. It's patently ridiculous. Fathers love it. Mothers hate it. Fathers, because primarily mothers are the ones who get the more than 50. Mothers hate it kind of for the same reason. But if you've got one gender who loves it and another who hates it, that should give you some clue that maybe it's not right. But relatively popular, as I said, I think earlier this week, Mississippi, I don't know what this, but the governor signed it. So that got a committee. I tried that in Australia. In Australia, for almost 20 years, they had 50-50 and eventually fell apart because abusive men were killing kids that they were forcing 50-50 time with. And they did away with 2023. And there's a variety of 50-50 bills. Some of them are only if there's abuse or neglect. Others have like a wide basket that you can argue to get out of it. But those seem to be popular. That's not the only bill, but there's definitely state legislators who are trying to reform the system.
Yeah, I don't see them. They're not as frightened as they have been, it seems like, in the past. And it seems like right now the family court and CPS is trending, if you will. Like I've only been in this for 5 or 6 years, but this is definitely the most coverage that you've ever seen CPS and family courts getting, and the sheer sticking out and talking about the corruption in them. You have groups all over the place that are actually literally sticking their noses into places that no one would have done in the past, because in fear of being arrested or, being whatever. And this is good to some degree, but then it's getting played out and falsified in other degrees. You got, these keyboard heroes that are coming out trying to play like they're going to save the world and giving people false hope and false promises. We have a lot of that, right? Like we have
Hold on.
Mm-mm.
Did we lose him?
Meeting people, you know. So I mean,
For about 10 seconds.
Yeah,
we lost.
repeat what you said.
Oh, okay, you got me back.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
it.
so we have people that are, we have people that are leading the way, but they don't know the law. They don't know what they're explaining to people. They don't know the procedures, and they're really just destroying people's chances or their hope.
I,
You know, like the hope is this thing.
I,
You know,
I
and when you
belong
take
to a
parents' hope,
few, I belong to a few Facebook groups where it's people on their family court cases, and I only and there was one time the description of the boyfriend or husband, an abusive person, because the woman, I'm in a country by myself. How did that happen? Isolated. There's nothing happened here by accident, but I almost never comment. The advice they give, you know, this is what lawyers are for. I know you don't want to pay, but going to a Facebook group and asking, how do you modify custody or child support? That's what the lawyer is for. I definitely try not to give legal advice. I'll almost never give advice because it's illegal.
Mhm.
But one thing to keep in mind about this stuff is every state has its own set of laws. So the person telling maybe they're an expert in the state you're in.
Mhm.
Maybe they know something that doesn't state. You have to be really careful. Look, it's burdensome and financially difficult, but that is what a lawyer is for. Trying to do this on the cheap through Facebook and other social media, you're going to get into a lot more trouble. As far as the advocates, lots of advocates, but some of them definitely are, I don't know, parasites. And the one that you is Francesca Mato. And I've known her, I think 2018. I first met her. She did some shows we did together. I liked her at first. Initially, what bothered me was people were like nipping at her heel or like questioning. She had a case, they were questioning whether or not her custody case, like the way she was describing it, was legitimate. And she was like going off. And I, you know, you don't, all you're doing is like drawing more attention to this. If somebody's sniping at you on Facebook, who cares? Just let it go. And you take a small, but no, she felt the need to respond to everyone, which at some point to wonder that is all of this true. And so the main thing that turned off to her started to promote some sort of an affidavit. And one of my friends who had written about reached out to me and she's like, you know, I'm going to sign this affidavit. And she sent it. And I said, this is a sovereign citizen. I was like, it's probably not exactly the same thing, but you know, basically saying you don't have any rights over me. You court with this, and I guarantee you, your situation is going to be 100 times worse. You know, and I said, there's no shortcut to this. You're in a case, you're dealing with CPS. Either you get an enormous amount of media attention that makes them fold, or shark lawyer, or you're a shark lawyer. But there's no, like, do you really fit all it to some affidavit that we'd have this national, but the affidavit solve all of it? So then I realized she is scamming people, and she had some other look. It's all by nobody's required to sign this affidavit, but people are, you know, they don't know any better, and your affidavit is like an official sound word. I think that it's all legitimate, but you know, once she started pushing the affidavit, you know, that's a scam. And then I think last year, maybe earlier this year, she brought everyone to DC claiming that she had a committee hearing on the bill she was introducing. So I think it's called the Family Justice Accountability Act, or FGAA. And I can't believe that people are still buying into it. So number one, the only person
$500 a month.
the only person who can introduce a bill is someone elected to be a lawmaker. On the state level, a state representative, a senator, like Mark Fincher. See, he was elected so he can introduce a bill in Arizona, because we work state Representative Scott in Idaho, State Senator Tammy Nichols. They were elected so they can introduce a bill. State Representative Gil Gatch in South Carolina, so he can. That's why it's important to reach out to them, to interview them, because they are in a position of this. Lawmakers, if you're in Congress, you make laws. So her saying that she's going to introduce the bill, that's not how it works. You weren't elected. You can't introduce the bill. A majority of the citizens have to give you the job before you can do this. So that was number one. Number two, she kept saying there was the hearings, and the hearings were happening while there was a government shutdown. There were some hearings during the shutdown because, of course, Congress wasn't shut down, but there weren't that many. There was no hearing. It was a secret hearing. That's not how it works. They put it on their website. It's almost always on YouTube, all right? There's no secret hearing. And so the hearing turned out to be something like a conference that she put together in a library. And she had said, I'm going to D.C. and you should come with me, because I have written a bill that I'm going to try to lobby Congress to introduce, and I'm going to have a conference in support of it because it's all accurate. But if she had said that, a lot less people would show up. So she claimed that she was introducing a bill hearing because those are more powerful. And she kept saying everybody had testimony. Here's the thing. When you testimony is under oath, it seemed like some word. No. If you testify, that's if you lie, you've committed a crime. Inference, it's not under oath. You can the credibility concept. There is a difference. Okay, they weren't giving testimony because testimony is under oath. They were giving a presentation, and she did this with a million different things. And she kept saying, "There's lots of media." There was no media. Nobody's covering your thing. I don't know if she was charging people. I'm pretty certain that if she was, it was all volunteer. People don't know any better. It was a scam. It's always a scam. She's scammed people for close to a decade. Some people still believe her. She draws a lot of attention, but yeah, because she makes up a story. It's like that guy, Al Stump, who ruined Ty Cobb's reputation. Yeah, he drew a lot of attention because he made up stories about Ty Cobb. All right? It's not hard to draw attention. Just things up, and she's saying thing. Her bill is awful. All right? It has no chance of passing. All right? It's not a real way to make it work. She wants to take all of these things that happen on a state level, federalize them, not through the courts, through some special committee. Know that. It's patently ridiculous. The whole thing is awful. And she got a lot of people. I had a friend who said, I'm going for her thing. My friend lived in Virginia, so it was like I was like, do not give money. You know what? The Uber is expensive enough for you. Don't give her any money. And I don't know. That's where like the whole thing started to balloon. I'm like, I think this whole thing is to get all these people there and to then ask for money. And that's the hideous thing. And look, she did this thing in DC where she promoted it like, you're going to get your kids back if you go. And I found out from another friend of mine who's not relative, she's really, she wound up not going. The hit wouldn't have been that significant because she can afford the airfare, the hotel, and then come home and still have plenty of money. But other people were spending last $500, $100 out of their last
Mhm.
1,000, or even out of 2,000. And when you're saying 50, 100% of whatever's left in the bank, that's a really big deal. In
Mhm.
a promotion, that's never going to happen. None of your kids will come back because you Francesca Mott. If anything, it's going to make it worse. So she had presented it honestly that I'm having a conference. I want parents to draft a bill. We're going to lobby Congress. Hope somebody picks it up and introduces it. Then, because that's accurate. She, in a way, twisted it to make it seem like she was a bigger, and that's how she got everyone there.
Mm-hmm. And still doing.
Claire has something to say.
Go ahead.
I think that when you said something about like people asking for like questions on Facebook or asking for advice on Facebook, a lot of that stems from personal experiences with their lawyers, I think, because even when you get a court-appointed lawyer in these situations, they do not do their job. Specifically, like Virginia, I know because I've dealt with that. And I had 3 court-appointeds that didn't meet with me, didn't talk to me, didn't, get the paperwork in on time. So I think when people are coming with these questions, it's because there's been so many people that have gone through these things. And at this point, when you're in such a vulnerable state, you're just asking for any help that you can get. And I think that just might be why a lot of people do that.
But then it goes back to
That's
you have
right.
to be careful who you're dealing with, because I can tell you, and anybody that knows me can tell you, I've been doing this almost 37 years. And if I haven't found the magic bullet yet, who found the magic bullet? Because I need it.
Right. It's not only that, it's you're right doing it. I just think if you're going to take advice from strangers on Facebook, that you're going to get yourself even more trouble. But the questions that I say are extremely specific. I have a custody order and my ex is doing this. Can I modify? It's not a good question. Look, that's a good question for a lawyer. And then all of these things depend on the state and a lot of other questions that need to be answered that you're not going to do on Facebook. So, and someone is going to and steer you in a direction based on interaction off Facebook. And you're right to Facebook because lawyers have screwed them over. But I don't think this is smart to do this through Facebook. I find it,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just wanted to give that little bit of insight. So like probably
file this, file that. Oh my God, you're steering in a direction. If that's correct. I once had a lady, I don't know if it was had someone, I don't remember the state, but they were like, if you lost your kids to CPS through federal to get you. I was like, you expect me to answer that? She's like, yeah. I was like, why?
Right.
Why would you think I know what the answer to that? I was like, you kidding? I understand. One time a lady asked me if I had a good recommendation for a solicitor, a British lawyer. Good British lawyer. Oh, I live in Chicago, right? She's like, yeah, are you asking me for a referral to a British lawyer? But anyway, I think frustrated by the system. They're also broke or at least where a lawyer's either takes way too much, you just can't afford it, and you're trying to do it the cheap way. I don't think it's smart. You probably is a better way to go.
Did you see
AI? As long as you're accurate about the information, meaning what state you're in, what you're trying to do, AI is actually going to figure out the state laws, and you might get a better answer through AI. But I don't think it's wise to try to get answers in these Facebook groups.
Did you get a chance? I had sent you that link to our app that we created. Did you get a chance to look at
I
that?
haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? So it's called the CPSpunisher.com. You go there, and what you do is you insert all of the documents from your case. I've worked on this for 2 years. with a bunch of help from a bunch of people, and we've created essentially the smartest CPS AI that there is. This thing is only trained in CPS cases, CPS case law, CPS this, CPS that. It's take the most current case law. It's up to date on everything. So you insert your documents into this. It comes out, it analyzes the document for you. It tells you the constitutional violations, the violations here, what the caseworkers does. It strips it down. It puts it into a timeline for you. Then there's all kinds. I mean, there's more options on here, Michael, than God for you to figure out. You can either talk to the AI agent. It will make a court case press kit for you. It'll make a podcast for you. It's kind of like similar to Notebook in a way in some things, but anything that you need to know CPS is on this app. With all the multiple different functions. There's a free function, and then it goes up, like from there. And it certainly doesn't hold people back because, like you said, a lot of people can't afford things right now, or they couldn't afford them to begin with. So, there is a free option, and then there's better options that go. But I mean, essentially, this thing does everything for you for your case. When you're ready to go to court, man, you hit print, and it takes in every type of document, videos, MP3s, PDFs, DOCXs, all kinds of different formats, analyzes them. There's a function on there that'll write the 1983s for you. There's a whole bunch of different motions that it will write for you. Just all kinds of things that you need, because like you said, there's no ones that's lawyers. And this is just an educator. It's not a lawyer. You're using this at your own risk, obviously. But, it does. What's that?
That's a much better option than asking advice. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know how good it is, but yeah, that can probably help a lot of people if you can put in videos and other documents, and it can tell you what the specific laws in each state, which are different. Some laws are universal, but a lot of this stuff, as far as CPS is concerned, like how long CPS has to do an investigation, it's a very state by state thing. How intrusive CPS is, that's state by state. There's differences between. They're all called CPS, and they here in Illinois, it's Department of Children and Family Services. It's the same thing, but so I think that's a lot better than go. Something like that probably help a lot of people. Hopefully, it'll get promoted. I'll try to promote it. That can probably help a lot of people.
Yeah, on there, it has all the state statutes, the different states. You can go there. There's a law library. It's attached to the oh my God, what is the thing? The court listener app. So that's attached to there. So it does everything current. There's judge watch. There's background checks. There's all kinds of things on there, man, that are just that are very pertinent to this stuff, and it's pretty cool. And like I said, at the end, when you're done, you're ready to walk to court. You hit press print on the court press kit, and bang, man, it prints out all your documents, everything that you've done, everything that you've analyzed. It's pretty awesome.
Very good.
I just want to say, I want to go back to. Now, I've been doing this more than half my life. I will say, in the last 18 months, I have seen more movement in legislative bodies in all the states than I have in the whole time that I've been doing this. And I'm going to tell you, it's because of people like you, us, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's because people no longer can be silent about this. And that is why it's really being looked at now, only because people have learned that they don't have to stay silent about this, and they shouldn't be scared to talk about this.
Right. All the social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, a lot of other social media, they all deserve credit for promoting this stuff through their people together, creating these groups.
You especially, man.
Right. So the other thing that I've seen, I started a lot 2013. There's a lot more stigma that people didn't want, because the belief was like, if CPS, you must have done something. She didn't want people to know CPS took kids. If you look at custody, you had parent. As more people came forward, other people saw their stories, and they realized that should speak to. There's a lot more people out there like him, and it's fed itself. There's more last 18 months than in previous, but there's definitely a movement in a lot of different states. As I mentioned, that when I first started with this, the two legislators who were well known were Minigan around in Connecticut. She's a Democrat, and Nancy Schaefer, who died right before I started covering the stuff, and drilled off a whole bunch of them. And that's just the ones that I'm familiar with. There's probably at least one legislator in at least half the states who are trying to work on these issues. There's a bunch of them in Idaho, Arizona for sure, because they got these task forces. But these states, I watched. I don't remember the name of the bill, but the Parents' Bill of Rights, the hearing for it, and again, I have a bunch of parents who are then able to present their case. It's happening a lot, talking a lot more. So the momentum is definitely there for. I don't know how long it'll take, but I think the only proper reform for CPS is its total. But if it's not politically feasible, then the two things are the body cams and the Bill of Rights. And when DCF visited me, didn't really have a right to remain silent. The piece of paper that I got said, you don't have to talk to us, but it will be used if you. So you don't really remain silent then. I talked to them, and I'm sure it was my ex-girlfriend, my son's mother, who did it. But the allegation, my son, who was like a year and a half at the time, by himself, and I'm this is such a bogus allegation. I shouldn't have to give you any evidence. Go prove it. I told them, you know what? If that's true, I live in a building. Go talk to him. If he was alone, they would have something, and if I left him out on the street, cops would have something. So you're checking out building management. If you find out there were no complaints of this type about me, then you can rule out that it happened. And if you call the cops and they don't have a police report, besides, I don't know what to tell you. But I shouldn't have had to answer. And I took their drug test. Why should I take their drug test? I think parents should have rights that you'd have as a criminal. Saying it's not treated the same. That's something you have to understand. Yes, it's not law enforcement, so they technically need a be surprised. The cops need CPS. That's really the other answer. Have as cops, but I think it's a
swing. There's federal cases that say CPS needs a warrant to get in your home, and they cannot seize a child without a removal order. It is an unlawful seizure under the Fourth Amendment.
They can insert. I know in North Carolina they take the child 6 hours, and then they have to get in front of a judge if they. I don't remember the term used, but if it's an emergency. Now in North Carolina they had a scandal because in several counties CPS, I think it's called CPS, they created them. They created what looked like an official order that CPS wrote and handed to parents, and parents would sign them. They bypassed judges, and people went to jail. I don't know if they were jail. They were charged, convicted, but no one actually went to jail. They made it low level enough. They kept them out of jail.
I think
Cherokee
that was Cherokee. Yep, Cherokee County. I remember that.
It was a very big scandal.
Well, that was yours, right?
Yeah,
you did Cherokee. Then you did a big one, right?
Did I? I didn't. I found a similar order in which I showed that it was much wider than Cherokee County, but the Associated Press broke that story. By the way, if you're saying the mainstream media these things, or the Associated Press, that story, they covered that. So Mike Hicks had NBC News on child abuse pediatricians, which is basically a made up specialty among doctors, and how they were child abuse and taking kids from kids, and then that the whole thing was basically a mirage, misconstruing by this hack doctor, and there were many. So he did good work. That's NBC. That's, it doesn't get bigger than NBC or does, but it's definitely mainstream media. So they it to some degree. At times he won. Dixonbach did. They made a podcast that won several. I'll find it online.
Yeah, that NBC one. Yeah. Yep.
So he did a lot of work. He stopped, but he did do a lot of work. As far as family court, the way for me to form it, the most important reform is all these court appointees. No court appointees. No guardian. No. You write it like if it's in Idaho. In the state court shall not appoint a guardian ad litem, parenting court, or any other third party during child custody. The court hear from the two parents, their attorneys, and any other evidence or witnesses they may introduce. And there's your law. It's like two sentences, and now you eliminate court appointees. You do a speedy trial. That there is a right to a speedy trial, but if you read the Constitution in criminal cases, civil cases, like if you sue, there's no right to a speedy trial. That's why civil cases going for like 6 years, because there's no right to a speedy trial. Make the right to a speedy trial. I would, if you can't afford an attorney, get it civil. It's called civil. I would make many cases. I think if you're being sued, you should get an attorney if you can't afford an attorney. That would actually eliminate a lot of these frivolous lawsuits, because a lot of the frivolous lawsuits happen because they know that the person they're suing doesn't have an attorney, so they'll bully them. So you'll probably save me. So the transparency where you have at least an audio recording in every room, you have that. I'm fees, but if you can get rid of the court appointees and then jury trials, and I think if he had this thing where they take the estate, put it into escrow, and then both parents can use that money out of escrow for their attorneys. So that way one party doesn't wind up with an attorney and the other party runs out of money. That's a good reform. Those, if you have those, I think you'd family court.
Tiff and I have put together quite a simple draft that we're going to try to start getting out to legislators. And this wasn't as much as extensive as the one that Francesca stole from me. But it's this, what we talk about is just simply, Mike, changing the word adoption in ASFA and all of these things to the word reunification. And that alone will
more of an emphasis on reunification. A lot of that has to do through funding streams.
Right.
There's more incentive to keep kids, stop kids. If you can get rid of that, they have. That's correct.
Right. So, and then if you even just take those incentive programs and flip those around so that your incentives come from, they're derived from reunification. This way, it's not pissing anybody off. They can still get their corrupt money. They can still get all that stuff, but at least it's keeping the family together now.
Right.
If they're not gonna let us tear this thing down, then
no,
at least
you get rid of
together.
the money. So you run ASFA and CAPTA. There's some federal laws regarding custody that you would sunset. There's the Violence Against Women to get rid of that. Violence against benefits women, benefits men, get rid of both of them. Title 4B, Title 4D, Title 4E, those are for child support and CPS. You get rid of social. There's a few of them. You get rid of those federal funding streams, and that'll starve the system of a lot of the money that it uses to like protract a lot of these cases. But yeah, there would be more emphasis on reunification, official incentive to do it the other way. So you just get rid of all the financial incentives And so if they don't have financial incentives, I think a lot more CPS cases will try to reunify, because I think they're only doing it because somebody's going to make more money doing it that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What is the, we'll get one more question out of you here. In all of your time that you've been doing this, Mike, what is the case that you've seen, or the situation that you've seen, that made you be absolutely just detest this system, detest this government breakdown, and we got to get rid of this?
The wreck case that was covered by 2020 is a hatchet job, footprints in the snow. David Rucky, physically sexually abusive. There's a CPS report that his son a gun's head. His daughter described how he choked one of her sisters. There's a notorious incident where he rips an organ leg off an organ and starts choking their mother, Sandra Grazzini Rucky, while the kids are watching. He left a voicemail on his cell phone, and it was 6 gunshots, and they have five children and the mother, so you can do the math on that. And the court forced him to get custody, and the 2 oldest daughters, Samantha and Gianna, and they were hidden for 2. They were found. They were forced into his custody. At the time in his custody, he was on probation. He was driving. Some guy flicked him off. I don't remember who flicked. Somebody cuts him off. It escalated into he followed this guy to a mini mall. The guy tries to get out. He throws him on the ground, beats him up, then goes and buys food to eat. And I asked Sam, that's Rucky, that's her name, why. He said, because it's like pathological after he beats someone up and he's eat. He was still on probation for that incident when his 2 oldest daughters. But yeah, the court, the judge's name is David Knutson out of Dakota County in Minnesota. But what sets that case apart is that the media deliberate way cover up what happened, paint her as the problem, and deliberately did not talk about any of the documented that was available, and they would all pretend that none of this existed. So the gun to the head, you never read about it, never see it in any news coverage. No, it's in a CPS report. David Rucky, his violence goes back. I found an incident in the mid-90s when he was at a bar and he's wasted, and they try to get him to leave and he won't leave. And then they're like, well, we're going to have the cops. And then the cops come, and then they first try to get him to leave. And then when he won't leave, he's dragged. So that's the mid-1990s. And he's got hockey rinks and this, his neighbors, he's threatening them. So he's got a history of violence presented by any of the media. And as I said, all the way from low 2020, they all covered it. The Daily Mail, and they all did not cover the abuse, only that he was being kept seeing like she was vindictive, but she wasn't. Easily her story. A couple of other people covered, right? He still was going after her for child support when she was homeless, and he had gotten everything. Even after it's turned 18, he was still going after support. None of that stuff got covered. Like 2 years ago, David, he runs Mediaite. He does a lot of different things. But he had a show called Courtrooms. And so in 2013, Mary Michelle McDonald was in the middle, like in a break during court, then thrown into a wheelchair type thing, wheeled in while she was shackled to the wheelchair, and then made to continue with the trial while she's shackled to a wheelchair. Dan Abrams is the guy's name. So this is like 2 years ago, and for some, like 2023 or 24, he decides to talk about this incident in 2013, and he presented it like she deserved it, and she didn't deserve it. This was a setup. Dan Abrams at court cams deliberately mischaracterized it, and Abrams has a show on News Nation, and the lady from who did 2020, Vargas, who did it for 2020, approximately a year after that 2020 episode came out. She was the one who hosted that show. Was to have a show on News Nation. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, or if she told him to do this thing because she had known the story. But a horrible hatchet job, and she had all of the evidence. She knew what a vicious and violent person David Rucky is. Did this show to like 10 million people that Sam was vindictive. Just awful. That by far the worst case I covered.
Wow. Tiff, you got anything for Michael that you want to add here?
All right, and I think that's it.
I think that Tiff, Mike, you guys are doing a podcast now, right? You wanted to give a? Are you and Lutherman doing a podcast on the regular, or is that just?
Yeah, it's on both of our Substacks. We were doing it regularly. Now what we do is interviews or together. We've interviewed some of these state legislators, and we're going to try to keep interviewing them. But you can find that online. My Substack is michaelvolpe.substack.com, and you can get free or paid subscriptions. So hopefully you guys can go and grab that.
Yeah, no, I pay for it. I pay for it for sure. Tiff, are you good? All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming, Michael. We'll be in touch. I'll send you the links for that so you can. I'll give you a passcode so you can have all access to that app, and you can check it out, play with it, and you can start giving people.
All right.
All right. So thanks again for coming. Sorry for the last couple of times, but let's do this again, my man.
No worries.
All right. All right. All right, everybody. We're out of here. Have a good weekend.
They said don't fight the system. They said stay quiet. They were wrong. Lock in. We are exposing what so many have failed to. We are going to show you what bar attorneys have hidden from all of us. Hundreds of thousands of children and twice that of parents have been lied to and walked down the road of termination. It's the death penalty. We're all of the protesters, the ones who fight for the rights of prisoners, dogs, illegal immigrants. Why aren't you coming to the aid of our children and families? Right here in America, every day a child per minute is kidnapped. And no one cares. We fight alone until today. CPS punishers mount up. Here comes the CPS Punisher. Anonymous tip, another lie from one of them. No warrant, no proof, just a badge and a grin. Stealing kids like trophies, thinking they'll win. Mama crying on the porch, daddy in the cage. System wrote the script, but the CPS Punisher just flipped the page. The educator they banned, I see every violation, every forged line, every ex-part hearing, every stolen time. One tap of the app and the truth ignites. Welcome to the CPS Punisher, now we can fight. CPS and the courts have lied to us all. The courts will not disgrace the family. CPS Punisher, here to avoid the chains and expose the game. CPS Punisher, the educator they never wanted you to find. Punisher, one tap and their empire cracks. We rise, we take our kids back. The app is called the CPS Punisher. I'm the cape in the shadows, the skull in the night, the binder full of secrets and weapons you all need. Ab initio, watch me void that lie. Fourth Amendment armor, watch the tyrants cry. Falsified drug test gone in a flash. I see Tebio, warrior, due process king. Every parent hero when the hotline rings. I call it justice. Download the truth, now the system busts us. From the courtroom to the streets, hear the battle cry. The CPS Punishers arrive. Kiss your bar asses goodbye. They tried to silence us, now we're the loudest voice in the room. CPS Punisher, here to avoid the chains and expose the game. CPS Punisher. This ain't rage, this is resurrection. Open the app, step into the fight. You ready? CPS Punisher! The app you need when they took your kid. CPS Punisher! The truth they hid, now the truth gets lit. Punisher! Download the power, take back the throne. Punisher! You're never alone. CPS Punisher. The educator they never wanted you to find. Void complete, family restored. The bar is finished, the Constitution will prevail. Judges do what's right. Treason is your penalty. Here comes the CPS Punisher.
This is not a test. This is the emergency broadcast system. Please stay tuned for the following message and instructions. This is not a test.
DeKalb County Police are asking for the public's help finding a man who disappeared earlier this week. Albert Waugh, who also answers to the name Alex, was last seen on Tuesday afternoon walking away from South Stone Mountain Road. He was last spotted on a surveillance camera on Wellborn Road. Waugh has autism and extremely limited verbal skills. Since then, police have been searching for him using drones, the police helicopter, canvassing the neighborhood, and more. He was last seen wearing a light brown t-shirt, black shorts, and was carrying a black backpack. He is 5'7" and approximately 140 pounds. He walks with a slight drag to his right foot and may shuffle in place while standing. Anyone who sees him should call 911 or the DeKalb County Police Special Victims Unit at 770-724-7710.
All right, guys. Anybody that's with us still, I just want to let you know that that is Danielle's son. That is on the shows here, guys. That does Uncovering Foster Care Corruption. That's her son. He's in Georgia somewhere. If you know people, if you have people that are in that area, they have search parties. They're forming search parties. Please get down there and help them locate Alex. It's a very hard time for Danielle, and she done a lot for so many people. So if you guys could please, if you have the means to get there and help out or help out in any way, please, you guys, help her and help her get her son home. She deserves all the help she can get. We all really here at CPS Breaking News would really appreciate that, because we need to get Alex home and get him back on track. And this is really a hard time for Danielle. So please, if you guys have any means, any knowledge, anything that you can help get him home, please do so. I'll place this ad up on the Facebooks, and I'll keep blasting it out there, guys. So please, guys, again, if you have any knowledge of where Alex is in Georgia, please contact 911, and there's also a number for the Special Victims Unit. Thank you guys very much. And Alex, your mom is looking for you, and so are we, buddy. Get your butt home, kid. Be safe.
We know it's all about the money. We know they lie. We know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?